It's your boy JAYSTAR back again with another video. We're about to get into these tight ends. First of all, I want to say thank you though for all the support. I've been seeing y'all been viewing the video, liking the other videos. I appreciate it. And let's get into how I pick my tight ends. Okay, so we on the slate, first week slate right here. Mark Andrews is top tight end on the slate, but I don't think, let me see. Don't think I want to say, well, yeah, he does. He does set the bar. Then let's just go ahead, like right here. 15, 6, 10, 13, 11, 9, 10, 10, 8. Wow. Yeah, he sets the bar for sure. Like, the first thing we look at is targets. So we're looking at the targets here, and I see this dude get some amazing targets. We know he's going to set the bar. Not most tight ends are going to get double-digit targets, though, because not most tight ends is their number one, receiving threat on the team. But I'm looking at other tight ends besides, like, Kelsey and Kittle. These ones will have, like, top. Well, even Pitts now will definitely be, because he's one probably will be, other than having Drake London. It could be Pitts being their number one receiving target. Waller, now that there's Devontae Adams over there and Renfro, excuse me, y'all. I have to say that he probably won't have as many targets, but I mean, he probably will still be in like the 8s to 7s, maybe not double digits anymore though. Hawkinson target should come down a little bit, but he should still be at about like 5 to 6, 7 targets. Let's see, what was he at last year? 8, 8, 11, 9, 11. Yeah, I think these 11s might go away, but more of these 8s could be there still for him. But they got DJ Chark and Jamison Williams when he gets in there, and once he recovers from his injury, as well as Amon St. Brown. It's going to be a lot of other weapons, so you might not see him too much. But that means I have to go to my second thing then. And after, we look at the targets amounts, we try to look at, do these tight ends run routes, or are they in for blocking? Because you never want to end up having to, even though, because there's a lot of starting tight ends and stuff like that, they might come in and they seem good. Like, okay, which is crazy is Kittle. Kittle, he's a great tight end, but if you go look like 5, 4, 9, 10, 8, 7, the 49ers, their offensive scheme, it always comes back to that. Offensive scheme for the 49ers is to run. And a lot of times they even, we know they even run with Debo. Which, shout out to Debo because he got paid today. But they run with Debo, which means, though, since you do a lot of run plays and you do it so much that you even do receiver running plays, your tight end's going to be in there block a lot. So there's a lot more blocking going on with Kittle, which makes me not take him often. I don't take him as often. I don't know if these are the games for sure right here where it's 10, 8, 7 targets. I believe Debo was hurt in this season at one point, and I knew straight go to Kittle, go like lock in Kittle. And it probably was let me see, about this game or something right here, this 24 game, or it could have been someone later. It might have been this one right here, matter of fact, when they played Seattle again. I think this is when Debo was hurt. And I knew to take him both of these games right here. Just because the offensive scheme for the 49ers. If Debo is not there, Kittle fills in Debo's shoes, really, like for their offense scheme. Like, he, for being that, since Debo plays a slot, Kittle runs in the same area where Debo runs. So even like the run plays, I swear they did a rushing play right here. Let me see. There's only one attempt here, and he only got 5 yards. But they even use him in the rushing sometimes. And I knew when he was out, they would use him there, as well as, of course, he was gonna get those targets that Debo usually sees when he runs the routes that he runs in the middle of the field with the slot area. So I knew he was gonna go off these back-to-back games right here. Had on both of these weeks. It's crazy. But like I said, because it's offensive scheme, so knowing, like I said, the targets, yeah, for sure. But then knowing what kind of tight end, the tight end is. Like, is he in for blocking or is he in for route running? Can he run routes? You know what I mean? Like, outside of just being because there's a lot of tight ends, like I said, they block and they might just come off a block and just sit in the zone, and they could get targets and all that, but it's like low, targets where 13 yards, what they getting, 34 yards, and we're still looking for good yardage, type tight ends. Like, go and get the targets for sure, but we want to know if you route running. Like, are you out there really running some routes that can get 50 yards? Like, We don't really want a 34-yard because you're getting 13 points. Good thing he got a touchdown. Now maybe that's a good. It's not good for the salary of 6,300 for Kittle. You know what I mean? And that's why a lot of times I don't usually have Kittle as my tight end. Really, I know it sounds crazy, but I notice Kittle is in a lot of times to block because this team plays a lot of run scheme, offense. So like I said, even with their receivers, and as long as when Debo is there, they're very rarely looking for Kittle down the field. Because most of the time, like I said, he might be coming off a block or he's not just running straight routes. So I like to know, like I said, number 2, do they move in there? They moving around. Like, will they line him up wide? Will he not just be in the block? Or is he actually running routes? It's great to see the targets, but like I said, because Kittle, he could throw you off because you could see 6, 7 targets for him. But then, even in those games, he might have blocked a whole lot. And then, last but not least, the third thing I like to look for is snap counts. And, there's a lot of tight ends that might be in a lot of times for snap counts, but they might just be in the block all the time, and they could be a part of a running team. Like I said, Kittle, we know he's a great tight end. I'm not saying he's not a great tight end. He's a great pick. Like, if a team really sucks against tight ends, like I said, offensive, schemes, like if this Chicago Bears suck against tight ends and they're going to cover everything else, like the slot receiver area for where Debo's going to run, they're going to cover out wide really well. Then they're going to give up the tight end. I know one thing, since I'm a Packer fan, like we was bad against the tight ends, but a lot of people didn't go to their tight ends. Like a lot of teams don't have a Andrews, a Kelsey's, a Kittle, Kyle Pitts. He didn't even have such a great year though. It was just his first year though. But Wallers and stuff like that. A lot of teams don't have these type of tight ends that get these crazy high volume targets that they get. I believe Waller used to get probably 10 targets, 12 targets, 9 targets, 8 targets, 19 targets. A lot of teams don't have those type of players at tight end. So you don't really get exposed like that. But I know Green Bay, if they was to go against a Mark Andrews, they would get exposed. And I would be taking Mark Andrews in those games because I know the offensive scheme, the targets, and also the snap count. Andrews is probably out there 90 to 80% of the snaps on this team. So I could one-off in that game knowing that Green Bay was bad, but there's a lot of other teams that you can look at that I know that used to be bad. I think the Eagles are bad, the Washington, Commanders now. They used to be bad against the tight end. So, like, if they go against a Mark Andrews, they go against a Kelsey, I'm just locking probably one of those in just as a safe bet. But like I said, even if they went against a lower one down here, you know what I'm saying? Like a CJ Uzomah, he used to get decent amount of targets, I believe. I know they have a lot of weapons over there, but these 6 right here, the 5 and the 6 right here, like if they're playing Washington, Philly, the Eagles and stuff like that, these 6 targets will come. Like, he probably get you the points you need. Maybe he scores a touchdown too, because those teams, like I said, that are bad against tight ends, they usually allow the tight end to score a touchdown. They're not only just getting a 65 yards off of 6 targets, but they're getting this touchdown. And then you get an 18 points, and for a tight end, you're happy to just get 10 points really. So, I look for those 3 things, and usually those 3 things will help me get those 10 points. But I don't usually want to pay up for a tight end. No, 6,800, because you're always trying to get 4x the salary right here. And 4x this right here would be 18 points. So, or my bad, it's not 18 points. Oh my God, what am I doing with my math? 24 points, right? But you're probably not going to get the 24 points here. You know what I mean? Like all the time. The Jets were bad against the pass and stuff like that. But I had to go back and see if they was really just bad against tight ends, you know what I mean? Or even like just the slot area, the middle of the field and things like that. Because if they are, I'm picking Andrews, locking him in here, because he's going to get freaking 12, 10 targets, 15 targets or something like that, and you might get 2 touchdowns in that game for Mark Andrews. That might be his career game day or some type, So Kelsey, like I said, against Arizona, I remember they're first, as you see right here. That means they didn't give up a lot of fantasy points to tight ends. So I don't want Kelsey then. You know what I'm saying? Like, unless I see something different this year, because they might have lost some people or something like that. But as you see right here, Chicago is saying they was 4th ranked against the tight end. Like, they didn't give up that many fantasy points. But teams like right here, Chargers, horrible against the tight end. If Waller is still like I said, after the targets, if the targets are still there, their offensive scheme shows me that they love going to the tight end still, to open up the rest of their field of the game, then I'm definitely going to Waller. If I see the snap count after that goes all together too, he's out there 80% of the time, I'm picking him. But there's like the way the same those three steps can still work for somebody that's cheaper. Is all I'm trying to say. Like you can come down here to a CJ Usama who's probably going to start now for Baltimore. I mean not Baltimore, but the Jets. And Baltimore, they're still giving up 30, 30th in the league fantasy points to tight ends. And I see that those three steps that I just told y'all, targets are there. He's out on the field 80, 70 something percent of the time, And then the last thing, like I said, they run routes. Are they out there running routes? And going to be out there running the routes, like, because I don't want to block and tight end, because speaking of the Jets, they have Tyler Conklin, which was another great tight end last year. He had really good games for Minnesota. 9 target games right here. Let me see. 12 points, 16 points, 20 points right here. Like, that was a really good game for him. He could have even did more. If he probably would have had 8 targets every game, he probably could have got you about 16, 20 points fantasy. He really did good. So, like a team like this, like the Jets, they have 2 tight ends, and I have to figure out which one is really out there most of the snap counts, like I said, getting the targets, and part of the offensive scheme and can run routes. Not the one that's blocking, because you could see with the Jets, they could have Tyler Conklin out there 70% of the snap counts, but it could be because the Jets are a runner, a run team, and he blocks most of the time. And then the 30 other percent of the time, it could be what's his name again? Oh my God, why did I forget his name already? CJ Uzomah. CJ Uzomah could be out there for 30% of the time, but gets 6-7 targets a game. So then I'm gonna want him, because that means he's out there route running, which is the main thing I want. I don't want a tight end that's out there just to block. I want a tight end that's out there to route run. I want a tight end that's getting the targets, and I want a tight end that's a part of the snap count, but part of the snap count when it comes to the actual offensive throwing and passing attempts and stuff like that. So, like I said, you got to pay attention to that, because there's going to be a lot of teams now kind of got loaded. Like, I would say, it sucks because they're not on this slate, but the Bills, they have O.J. Howard now, So it's going to be crazy because they used to go to Knox so much, in the red zone. But now you got O.J. Howard, which he's another 6'7" or something tight end. And I know he's never had the opportunity to get, have targets thrown to him. He's been on the Bucks. He was there the first year, I believe, with Jamie. And, Jamie, how that went with Jamie. And then Brady came over there, but he brought in Gronk, and they already had Brady. And I believe he was hurt the first year, but like the next year, he still was a third tight end on the, the depth chart. And he wasn't a part of the snap count. He wasn't a part of the targets. He wasn't even a part of the offensive scheme to run routes. You know what I'm saying? He came out there, probably run one route in the snap count. So if you stick to those 3 things, targets, snap counts, out there running routes or blocking, figure it out. If they're just out there to block, do not pick them, because that means they're not checking all the boxes. They need to be out there to route run, so that way they're going to get targets when they're out there, and they're a part of the offensive scheme. You know what I mean? So, like I said, the tight ends I'm looking at, I'll just go through the tight ends for this week right here. Mark Andrews, I probably will definitely look his way to pick him. Kelsey, no, I'm probably not looking his way, even though I know he's out there for a lot of routes. It's just I know how good Arizona's defense is, and Kansas City offensive scheme could be to go somewhere else, is because they could beat Arizona in different ways. Kittle against Chicago, I don't think I'll be looking for Kittle. Like I said, he's more of a blocker than the targets that he receives all the time. So it's gonna show that he's out there 80-90% of the time, but they run a lot. So like I said, gotta pay attention to that. Kyle Pitts, he's definitely, I'm sure he's gonna be like 80% of the snap counts. Also he's gonna be heavily targeted about 10 to 12 times with Mariota back there in the backfield. And also, he's a route runner. He's not in there to block. He's in there to route run, which that's why I love him. Like, I'm probably definitely will have him, even in this probably maybe hard matchup, maybe not hard matchup. I got to see, because New Orleans used to not be good against the tight end. Now they might be better, but let me see. Waller, he's usually not in there to block. So, and he's a part of the offense usually 80% of the time. We got to see what happens now, though, that they have new weapons in Devontae and DeMarcus Robinson and Keelan Cole, I believe it is. Like, they have other weapons, so I don't know how much targets he's going to get anymore. But we do know, I expect him to be out there, because Raiders are not a run team, and we know Waller, when he's out there, he's running routes. So he should get some targets. A big target, is a great tight end. Hockenson, like I said, when Jamison Williams gets back, Hawkinson's numbers, when it comes to targets, might drop. But I do know that he's out there to run routes. He's not out there to be blocking. So still a good tight end to pick. Jaceki versus New England. Um, Definitely Jaceki was a really good tight end too, but just maybe not for the New England game, but a different game. He should definitely continue to get high targets in the 12s, the 9s, the 7s, even with Tyreek and Waddle being there and things like that. With Mostert and Edmonds, I think it really just opens up the field even more. So like a team that sucks against the tight end or sucks in the middle of the field, Jaceki should go off because Tyreek and Waddle is going to clear the way for him. And he's such a big target and an athletic target. My God, he should be killing. But like I said, maybe not against New England since it says they were second. They probably was. They probably are still that good. Detroit was bad, and Goddard should definitely have mad targets. He used to have 12, 7s, 9s, 8s. You're looking for at least, I would say, 6 or 7 targets a game for a tight end. If you can get 6 or 7 targets for any tight end, that's out there to run routes, like I said, part of the offensive scheme, and it's not in there for the snap counts to be blocking. That's it. Like, just make sure they're not in there. Like, they're in there a lot, but they're in there enough that they're not in there to freaking just block all the time because you'll be wasting your money. Like I said, Kittle sometimes is a waste of money because they could just run. Like if it's a game where they can their offensive scheme because it's usually to run, and the team gives up the rushing, then they can run with Debo and they can run with their running back Elijah Mitchell. And we know Kittle won't be a part of the game plan then. So I wouldn't take Kittle at that, on those days. But Zach Ertz here against KC, I think defense will be a lot worse than what they were last year. I feel like the Honey Badger did help a lot when it came to the middle of the field or trying to go deep or something like that. I think they might be worse against the tight end, but so I would still take chances with Zach Ertz here, especially with all the weapons that they have over there in Arizona. Freiermuth, I believe he's going to have a great season. And if this is true right here, I have to go check to see if Cincinnati was really that bad against tight ends. If they're that bad against tight ends, because I know they're already bad in the slot. So whoever receiver is playing in the slot, I'm definitely going to stack this right here, for sure with Freiermuth. Because I know they run the middle of the field. So, and he gets targets. And I mean, the only thing is I have to see now, will he continue to get those targets? Because, they do have a different quarterback now. So, but I think I'll still take a chance here. Robert Tonyan, I got to see how his recovery is doing. And, because this is my team right here. But I don't know if he's going to be officially back or not for the game one. But he should have way more targets with Devontae being gone. Njoku, I think he's going to be a great pick. Him and Amari Cooper. If they move Amari Cooper to the slot, then Njoku should have more open, opportunities to get the ball and have one-on-ones and stuff like that. And I think he'll definitely succeed here. And he probably have a lot of red zone since he's a big, big, huge target. It's probably be one of his best years, really. But like I said, it's all about the matchup after that. So the offensive scheme, knowing that I know when he's out there to freaking run routes. He's not out there to block. They probably use the other tight end on their depth chart to block. And so I know he's probably going to be a part of most of the snap counts, but most of the time when he's out there, he's going to be running routes. So I would definitely look for Njoku. Everett, he's a decent tight end. I mean, he's been bouncing around lately. So I would have to see how much they really use. I know the Chargers do use their tight ends for kind of big plays too. So I got to see if they send Everett downfield, how many times he a part of the snap count, like I said. And I might take him, might not, depends because I know Chargers have a lot of weapons. Hunter Henry, I used to love Hunter Henry when he was a Charger. In New England, he was decent, Mac Jones went to him a couple of times, but I don't think his targets was really that high. Let's go check real quick. 3, 4, 6, 5, 8. Yeah, it's up and down. These, right here, this is horrible. I wouldn't want Hunter Henry if I see these 2 4s, 3 3s, no matter what the matchup is, really, because it's you're not going to get the points I want. I'm looking for really 15 points. Like I said, 10 is good, but 10 is good if you going down here to the low 3,000, 2,000 area. Last year, I ain't gonna lie, the last season it was a lot harder to play tight ends because you couldn't pick no low costing tight end. There was no cheap plays. Most of the time you had to play safe and pick a Jaceki up here in the 4,800, 45 area. Up in here, the 42 area and up. You had to pick these tight ends because these ones right here weren't getting targeted, weren't a part of the snap count when it came to route running and stuff like that. It was more a part of the snap count, but part of the run game and nothing else. So, but this year I think it will probably be, I think these tight ends will be used more because a lot of them move to different situations. Different teams like Evan Ingram. Oh my God, Evan Ingram's in a great situation right here with Jacksonville Jaguars. I feel like he's gonna get crazy targets. Last year, I don't think he really had them, but he's always been a really good tight end, like 6'6". Yeah, like if he can get you 6'6", 8, and stuff like that on Jacksonville, man, he's gonna be a lock until he gets above 4,500 really, because 3,500 is too cheap. Like for Evan Ingram, if he could just stay healthy, that's my biggest thing. Like I said, playing Washington, I know they used to be really bad against the tight end. He's a steal right here for 3,500. Conklin, we got to know if he's starting. Irv Smith, like I said, Green Bay was bad against the tight end, so could be a good play right here if he's going to get the targets that Tyler Conklin used to get. Like if he can get like 6 targets a game, it is going to be hard since he's playing with Jefferson and also playing with Thielen and KJ Osborne now. Like I think KJ Osborne targets goes up this year, so yeah, I don't know how many targets he get, but if you can get 5 to 6 targets from Smith, could be a great game for him going against Green Bay right there. Let's see, anybody else? The lowest I would go would be, wow, man, is it anybody else? Doesn't look like there is anybody else that I would go to. So yeah, like the lowest on this list for this least this week. Well, my bad. I see Hurst here. He's a new tight end for Cincinnati now that they lost CJ Uzama. He could get the targets that he used to get, back when he was in Atlanta. But yeah, because his target should go up. Like these fours, yeah. Like come on, we can get some 5s and some 6s. Like get off of these 3s and 4s. This season should be better for him because on Cincinnati filling in CJ Uzama, and like we saw, CJ Uzama used to have about 6 targets a game, right? Like 6, 5, 6, 6, 7s. Yeah, you can get that from Hurst. He would probably be the lowest one I would go to, because I think Pittsburgh wasn't that amazing at the tight end. Like they said, it says 17th right here, which is pretty good. Like you could take a shot on Hurst. So the lowest tight end I probably would take week 1 would be Hurst. I feel like he should hit all the boxes, like I said, with the targets, being out on the field to actually run routes and not to block, and the snap count should be high. He should be out there all the time. You know what I mean? Like 80% of the time to 70% of the time, since they don't really have a backup now. Like, go to Cincinnati just real quick. I don't think they have Drew Sample. Yeah, like, it's not a good backup. So, I really feel like he's the main tight end. He's going to be out there most of the time. Cheap tight end, man. Like, yeah. Definitely would take on a good offensive team, too, with a lot of weapons. Should definitely be able to succeed and get you a touchdown and get about 15 points fantasy. What you really trying to get from your tight ends. But, so like I said, y'all know the 3 things now for the tight end. We look for the targets. We're looking for if they were out there to route run and not block. Definitely look for that. And then third thing is the snap count. So if they check all 3 of those boxes, definitely that's a winning tight end for you. You definitely can hit 15 points fantasy and not even have to pay up so high, to get, like Mark Andrews numbers sometimes, because you could find it in these lower tight ends that's going to hit those 3 boxes and have a winning lineup with a good tight ends. You don't even have to stack them. Could just find one-offs, because they might be in a good situation. Like I already said, look, right here, Uzama's in a good situation. Down here, you got Smith, and also Evan Ingram should be in a good situation. And I feel like they hit all 3 boxes. Those would be the tight ends I'd be looking for down in the cheap area. And up top, it would definitely be Mark Andrews, just because we know he's going to have crazy value. He might have 15 targets. So God, it's going to be crazy. That would probably be my high pick tight end. And mid pick, let me see. My last one, mid pick. I think I would go with Freiermuth. Yeah, I'll go Freiermuth, whichever one it is. But I definitely think I would go with him for the mid tight end, because he's in a great situation. Got 3 receivers to, spread the field for him. So he's just wide open probably on some plays, and one-on-one with a linebacker, which is going to be a crazy mismatch. I definitely would be looking for him. And you don't even got to stack it. I would just take him. You could just take him by itself. Probably get you the points of Mark Andrews or any of these other tight ends. I don't really spend too much time on my tight ends. Like, I try to get it out the way real quick, probably lock it in early in the lineup, or, unless I'm about to stack a wide receiver or running back tight end type of situation. That's the only time then I will spend more time on it. But other than that, I just knock it out. Like I said, listen to them 3 things, them 3 steps. Y'all going to succeed and have 15-point fantasy tight ends. But it's your boy JAYSTAR. I hope y'all enjoyed the video. Thank y'all all for the views and the likes from the last videos. I'll be hitting y'all probably closer to, the season with about 3 lineups I'll try to give y'all. You know, 3 lineups for the Millie Maker so we can all get out there and win some money. It's your boy JAYSTAR. Hope y'all enjoyed the video. I'm out. Peace.